So many marker pens, they just won't all fit on my desk. Hello! I've managed to wrangle all of those markers that Arrtx sent to me in that mystery box a few months ago into some pen cases that I bought separately, and of course they're attracting cat hair like nobody's business. Not much I can do about that, but today I am going to actually swatch out all of the colours because I haven't done that yet, and then I'm going to make some artworks hopefully with the pens. We'll see what we can come up with. Let's get into it! Because Arrtx sent me multiple sets, I've gone through all of the swatch cards that they provided to pick out all of the individual colours. I do have quite a lot of doubles and triples, but I just wanted to make one large set with as many individual colours as possible. I think it's 137, something around there, and there was not really a box to put them all in. So I ended up finding these cases from Jasart. This is an Australian company, and I sorted the pens out into colour order as much as possible. So in this case, which isn't quite filled because I ran out of colours in this colour grouping, I have reds, pinks and purples. And then in my other sets I've got greens, blues and greys, and then yellows, oranges, browns and skin tones. Kind of colours which I don't really know where to put them, so I just call them skin tones because they kind of are. These sheets are all well and good, but they're just completely all over the place and it's really hard to find the numbers on them corresponding to what I have in the cases. The other thing is that the names of the colours are not on the markers, they only have the numbers, which is really difficult because I just know I'm going to lose these at some point and I didn't want to not know what the names are. Basically this is all I did, is I just wrote the numbers down and then spent ages hunting through these different things to find the numbers and write the names down. Then I typed it out on the computer so that I have a file that I can save and reprint if I need to. I just printed out 3 pieces of paper here. So this is for the first case, and then I've got one for the second and the third, and I'm just going to swatch right on here. This is plain printer paper. It may well be not the best indicator of the colours, but it's close enough, and I really don't want to find other paper to have to print on. This will do. It doesn't really matter so much. It's more just a key so I can find the colours really easily. Starting off with reds, pinks and purples, these are probably the most difficult to see because red always oversaturates on camera no matter what I try to do. It's the same with photographs too. So they're looking incredibly bright on here, but they are also pretty bright in person. I went up to French Vermilion, which is starting to go orange, and then I started going to the pinks, so the rest of the oranges are in a different case. I really like these markers, they have some lovely colours, and I really like the brush tips on them. The chisel not so much, that's pretty much a standard chisel, but this brush is of a medium firmness, it's not too soft and also not too hard to use. There is a bit of flexibility in it. I think I got my pinks a bit messed up there. That fluorescent coral red I really should have moved further up next to the French Vermilion, but it's not the only mistake I made in colour order. I also completely forgot to put another piece of paper under this and the inks leaked all the way through and onto my desk. Fortunately, I was using a plasticky layer and so I was able to take it off with some high-strength rubbing alcohol. Phew! Next I'm going on to greens, blues and greys. I ended up with quite a lot of pastel-coloured greens, which is actually pretty good because it's easier to work with light colours to begin with and then build up to darker ones. If all of the markers are really dark and saturated, it's a lot harder to get a nice gradient. And I do have to say, pretty much all of these markers are very juicy, lots of ink in them. There were a couple that didn't have quite as much, but I do have a lot of duplicate colours, so I'm sure I can replace them when they run out of ink. As far as I know, Arrtx Oros markers do not come with refillable ink, unlike say Copic. But then they also don't cost as much as Copics either, so I can't complain too much. There are not many blues in the set that I put together, but there are quite a few greys which ended up coming in really handy for my artwork. We'll see this a little bit later. A range of cool greys going into warm ones and a black here. Last up are the skin tones, yellows, oranges and browns. Some of these could have gone into the pink case and I really don't know why I didn't put them there. So there are an odd assortment of pinkish tones and then more yellow ones. And I haven't even really put those in order.
but I kind of just moved into the yellow from there. There's also a pastel green which just looked more yellow to me. I'm basically going off the visual colour rather than the names, because some of the names just did not match up with the colours. I really wish that the colour names were on the pen, maybe on the lids along with the numbers, because I'm never going to remember numbers, but I will remember names. I have a feeling they might be updating the sets, so what I have here are their older ones. If I can find them online, I will list them in the description below. I do have to say though that the quality of the pens is excellent and I have no complaints with them. I'm really happy to have a decent set of brush markers now, I can tell you. They look great together.
Well, that's a bit better. Now I can actually see the colours in somewhat of a more organised order. They're not perfect, but at least it gives me a good idea. So I've got all of these pinky, purple, red colours on here, greens, blues and greys, and then all of these kind of yellows, browns, random skin tones and other neutral colours. Some of these are just completely out of order, but never mind, at least they're all on one page and I can see them more easily. So now I've got to think of an artwork. I've been rummaging looking to see what surface I should draw on, and I found this in my stash. Express-It blending card, specially selected for use with Copic markers, so I figure any markers are going to be fine on it. So I think I'll give this a go today. Never used it before, I hope it's good.
Yes, I can happily report that the paper was excellent. I'm starting out my drawing with a really light, cool grey 3. I really didn't know how to start this picture. It's a lot more complicated than I was anticipating. So what I'm doing is just drawing in the deepest shadow areas so I can give myself a bit of a grayscale drawing, and then I can go over everything with darker colours later. And in case you're wondering what I'm wearing on my hand, it's just a chopped up cotton glove, which I decided to put on because I really didn't want my hand to be touching the paper and putting oils on it. I thought that might mess with the marker pens a bit. Can you see what it is yet? I'll tell you in a moment. It is kind of fascinating watching this picture emerge out of nothing, like seeing a Polaroid picture develop. I do have some very light pencil lines on there as well, but I'd only drawn in a basic shape, and I was adding in a lot more detail with the grey marker pen. Now I'm going in with some darker red colour. And this is a close-up of a Mustang car. I saw this photo on Unsplash, which is a website for royalty-free images. I highly recommend checking it out if you're looking for some good reference photos. I really love this photo in particular. It caught my eye. For some reason I just really wanted to draw some kind of classic car. And how could I go past a gorgeous cherry red Mustang? It was so much easier to colour over the shadowed areas that I'd done with the grey pen, and I used quite a variety of reds in this, from the deepest ones to a slightly more orange vermilion over the top of some parts, but most of it I actually stuck to the pinker reds because I wanted that bluer shade of red rather than going too orange. I coloured in large parts but tried to leave areas where I wanted to have those really bright highlights. This drawing took me so long to do because there is so much incredible detail in it. When I started looking at the picture, there's just so many little reflections and differences in bright areas of the car, a few little areas that had purple in it, and then also the deeper shadows that are caused by darker reflections. It is by no means perfect, and I really am not very confident when it comes to using markers. I'm not very experienced with them, and I definitely don't consider myself to be a marker artist. But I really wanted to push myself with this particular image and do something that was way out of my comfort zone. I took my time with it. It looks like I'm drawing really quickly because I've sped it up a lot, but this did take many hours to do, and it is by far the most complex marker drawing I've ever done. The blue areas ended up a bit too blue for my liking, so I did actually go over a lot of it with the grey pens. Those greys were fantastic for this drawing, and they're really great also to cover over brighter colours and neutralise them down a bit, so they're incredibly useful to have in the set. Overall, I'm really happy with how this artwork turned out. I'm actually quite proud of it. The markers themselves were fantastic to use. They're really high quality and definitely an excellent alternative to the more expensive Copics. That Express-It blending card worked really well also. The ink leaked through, but it did not go further than the actual paper, so I didn't have any more messes on my desk. I'll try and remember to link that in the description below as well, because it's really great for markers, super smooth paper, and really white too, so you get that high, punchy colour from the marker pens. I definitely want to do more marker drawings in the future. This was so much fun. They also work really well with coloured pencils. I didn't use pencils in this drawing. I wanted it to be 100% markers, though I did use a tiny bit of white pen just at the end, some gel pen just to add in really bright highlights.
And I'm finished. I'm actually pretty happy with this piece. It's not perfect, but I do really like the colours, and I think I was able to get at least somewhat of a look of the Mustang. I have got marker pens all over my desk, but thankfully now I have a key that I can easily put them back into their cases. I am pleased about that. It's a job that I've been meaning to do for quite a few months. I've been putting it off because I knew it was going to take ages, but now they're all good. I can put them away and then bring them out whenever I feel like doing some marker practice. I was going to do more marker drawings, but this one took me practically the whole day, and I think I've just had enough. So I'm just going to leave it with one, quality over quantity in this case. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, I really appreciate a thumbs up. It helps out the channel. And if you'd like to see more of my videos, you might want to click the subscribe button. It's totally free, and it just notifies you for when I have new videos popping up. I have a couple of videos here that you might want to check out as well. I hope you're all having a great day. I'll see you again really soon in my next video. Swatch you later. Bye.